Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 11th business meeting of the Arkansas State Highway Commission, our first meeting of 2026. I'm Philip Taldo, Chairman of the Commission for now. Thank you all for being here today in person or on our live stream. It looks like we have a full agenda today, as you can see on the screen. There it is. But before we get started, please stand for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I have some general reminders for everyone who may be speaking or presenting at today's meeting. We want to make sure everyone is heard as clearly as possible. So please ensure your microphone is turned on. Is mine turned on? Yeah, okay. And when you speak, and speak directly into the microphone to ensure your audio is picked up well. This brings us to our first order of business, which is approving the minutes from the December 3rd commission meeting. I hope everybody had a chance to review them. Christy sent them out to us. Anybody have any questions or anything on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
We got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Motion passes. This morning, we have Mrs. Who's acting up back there? This morning, we have Mrs. Mackenzie McMath Cornell, Executive Director of the Keep Arkansas Beautiful Commission. She's going to make a presentation to us, and we're glad she's here today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, now it is. Okay, I want to follow instructions. Okay. Thank you again so much for having me to present to you all this morning. All the work that we do at Keep Arkansas Beautiful would not be possible without your continued support and partnership. Whoops, we're going forward, not back. Maybe. All right, here we go. Today I'm going to briefly go over our 2025 impact, touch a little bit on the Greatest American Cleanup, share a little bit of how we have expanded our educational offerings, and talk about how we are bringing Arkansas together. Let's jump into our 2025 year in review. Lots of impressive numbers. Don't worry, I will not recite them all out loud to you, but I do want to share that 2025 was a record-breaking year for Keep Arkansas Beautiful. We were able to accrue nearly 25,000 volunteers from every corner of the state. We have participation from all 75 counties twice a year. So we are thrilled to see our numbers continuing to climb, especially with the incorporation of students needing to get volunteer hours. We have worked very hard to be at the top of their list to come to us to help us, for us to help them get those hours. We had over 96 total educational workshops around the state. We also picked up over 900,000 pounds of litter. All of these statistics will be available in this presentation, and we will be issuing an impact report that will be for your reading pleasure at your convenience. But for those of you who are a tad bit mathematically challenged, I can't really envision what 900,000 pounds looks like. So that is about 160 African elephants and 3 to 4 blue whales. That's a lot of trash. Also, I think people in here might understand roadways and miles, so I wanted to throw out there that is enough trash for you to drive, or enough roadways were cleaned for you to drive from Arkansas to the West Coast and back. That's over 5,000 miles of roadways that Arkansans picked up in 2025. Our cost-benefit analysis blew it out of the water this year. We were able to have a total program benefit of about $18 million with a total investment of $270,000-ish, which to me is fantastic. That is about $66 per $1 spent value. So we are very excited to see that while we work with not the biggest budget, and you all especially help support all of the effort and costs that go into our program, that we are able to return such value to the state. So thank you so much for your continued support in helping to make these numbers possible. I'm now going to jump into the greatest American cleanup. Many of you are familiar with our programming and know that we have the Great American Cleanup every spring. This spring is the greatest. We are working in tandem with Keep America Beautiful, and they are highlighting this as the greatest year in honor of America's 250th birthday. It's a challenge nationwide for every American to pick up 250 pieces of litter. As part of this historic nationwide effort, we are anticipating more Arkansans than ever to turn out for our spring cleanup season. And with the continued support of RDOT, we will be able to equip supplies to these Arkansans turning out to do their part to keep both Arkansas and America beautiful. Our wildflower program continues to blossom and grow, puns totally intended. We have distributed over 3,000 wildflower seed packs, which are made available during our cleanup seasons to Arkansans around the state. This is an effort to give Arkansans the opportunity to beautify their communities and public spaces. So thanks to, actually, I consulted with the Department of Transportation's team here when I first wanted to get started on the wildflower program, and they set me in the right direction. So once again, showing that the Department of Transportation's partnership has always helped develop lots of our programming and always guided us in the right way. I'm very excited to announce that we have expanded our educational offerings, now available for K through 12. We have developed plug-and-play lesson plans within our mission areas of litter prevention, recycling and waste reduction, and beautification and conservation. The idea is to make things as easy as possible for teachers, educators to be able to just go, download lesson plans that are all in line with state standards and within our mission areas, and are also exciting and give students the opportunity to get hands-on experience within our mission areas. We continue to support the LEARNS Act by offering opportunities for students to take classroom learning to real-life projects. We offer short-term and long-term projects, and several of our projects reinforce not only state standards, but also AP curriculums, so that way that classes, entire classes can do these projects together, not just individual students. So we're really trying to make everything we do full circle. Let's see. Now, this is an exciting new piece of news for us. Keep Arkansas Beautiful has always had Arkansas affiliates around the state. For the first time in 10 years, in a few weeks at the Governor's Conference on Tourism, Keep Arkansas Beautiful will be hosting our first Keep Arkansas Beautiful Affiliate Network Conference. So we will be gathering groups, all of our 13 affiliates from around the state, plus additional cities that are interested in becoming Arkansas affiliates, to get everyone that is like-minded in the same room to work together to have instructive speakers and inspirational testimonies, and really just discuss the best way that these people that are working in all of these like-minded missions can support one another, and know that the central office of Keep Arkansas Beautiful will be a strong support for them. Our outcome and impact is really to make sure that we as a small office are able to have a large footprint around the state, and by supporting these affiliates, that gives us a foothold in these different regions to help push our programming, have boots on the ground to attend Rotary events and talk to schools, and really expand our impact. So we're very excited to have this coming together for the first time in nearly a decade. It's very exciting, and we are ready to continue expanding our impact. And without the support of RDOT, we really would not be able to have the huge impact that we do have. And so your continued support and dedication to helping us achieve these great goals, we are eternally grateful for that. And today we do ask you to continue to assist us in making these wonderful programs accessible and available to Arkansans from every corner of our wonderful state, doing their best to keep the natural state beautiful. So thank you very much. That's all I got.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for the Director? I want to say one thing, that we really appreciate your partnership with RDOT. You know, you can build a great highway and you can have thick asphalt and you can have a lot of things, but if you got trash all over it, nobody notices. But we feel like you're a great partner with us to help present something that the citizens are proud of. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the minute orders. As a reminder, all minute orders will be held for signing until after the meeting concludes. If you have any questions or comments about the minute orders as they are being read, please let me know. For the reading of the minute orders, I will call upon Dave Parker, who is head of our Communications Division. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minute Order 1, as always, this minute order calls for the approval of the actions by the Purchasing Committee since our last meeting. Minute Order 2, as we just heard about, this next minute order asks for the approval to make a $100,000 contribution to the Keep Arkansas Beautiful Commission for their use in strengthening their anti-litter campaign. Minute Order 3, this calls for authorization to process payment for the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, AASHTO, their annual membership dues. The amount is $42,365. That's for the 2026 calendar year. Minute Order 4 also calls for the approval to make payment in the amount of $40,000 to the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation for the 2026 calendar year. Minute Order 5, this asks for authorization to request proposals, select qualified consultant engineering and land surveying firms to perform surveying services and enter into necessary agreements or contracts as needs are identified for a term of 3 years with the option to extend. Minute Order 6, similar type minute order. This asks for the authorization to enter into agreements with the Arkansas State Police and other safety partners to proceed with the development, publication, and distribution of a comprehensive media campaign for the Move Over law as funds become available. Minute Order 7, moving to the various districts, this minute order from District 6 calls for the declaration of a certain piece of land to be now considered as surplus property. Minute Order 8, similar, this time in Benton County. Minute Order 8 asks for the approval of a piece of land to become surplus property. This is near Highway 112 and West Wallace Road. Minute Order 9 has to do with a partnering agreement with the city of Swifton so that we can make improvements to the Swifton bypass. This is in Jackson County, northeast Arkansas. Minute Order 10 involves another partnering agreement, this time in the city of Springdale, to make various intersection improvements within the city. This includes both Benton and Washington counties, includes portions of Highway 71B. Minute Order 11 out of Pulaski County calls for the authorization to partner with MetroPlan and to utilize consultant services to conduct a proposed Highway 100, Highway 365 corridor study. Minute Order 12, out of District 10, Clay County. This is an improvement project. Approval to enter into necessary agreements with MoDOT, the Missouri Department of Transportation, for the design and construction of the Interstate 57 interchange at the Missouri-Arkansas line. Minute Order 13, Districts 4 and 9, Benton and Washington counties, authorization to update the Interstate 540 or Interstate 49 improvement study. Minute Order 14, out of District 7, Columbia County. This minute order calls for the adoption of the Western Magnolia Corridor Study. This is to be used as a planning guide for future improvements. And finally, Minute Order 15, out of District 3, Pike County. This minute order calls for naming of portions of Highways 19, 26, and 301 as the Glen Campbell Memorial Highway.
Now, Dave, weren't you going to sing that part? I heard upstairs
Rhinestone
and
Cowboy.
singing. Okay.
That's what I'm
Okay.
going to stand up and lead us in Rhinestone Cowboy.
Appreciate that.
That will conclude my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dave. We'll, yeah. If there are no questions, we will move on to our next order of business. For that, I'll ask Patrick Patton, our Chief Financial Officer, to come to the podium and present our State Highway Financial Report. Patrick?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. We will start out with the, if I can go forward. There we go. Start out with our budgeted versus actual operating expenses through December. January's numbers weren't ready yet, so we're looking at December's numbers. Director's expense is flat to the budget. Chief of Admin is flat, or 1.8 million below budget. Basically, when we do the budget, we smooth it. So far, 5 million has been used. More than likely, it's the timing of the purchases. Capital outlay expense, if you look at it, the variance there is about $12 million. Once again, that's timing. Road and machinery so far has only spent about $3 million. So as we get more machinery and more trucks, more equipment, that number will come closer to the budget. Next slide will show you the trend of revenues over the last 5 years. So if you look at motor fuel, we're tracking right at 2025 levels. We did have in motor fuel a reduction in our allocation of about $10 million due to a DK Trading refunding. Same song and dance as last year. We anticipate this being the last one. If you look at registrations, they're flat. The natural gas severance, it's at its 2024 level. It's raising a little bit over last year. Amendment 101 is continuing to rise, which is good. Security Reserve, we've gotten all we get for the Security Reserve Fund of $20 million. For those, just to refresh you, that's the first $20 million of interest on state treasury cash balances, and we request that in good interest rate years by September or October. One thing I want to add, surely some of y'all seen it in the paper, state surplus. They've updated their projections. They updated them February 1st to a projected $334 million surplus. 32 million of that is from that $1.8 billion lottery ticket. 3.9 million of what they take home is in state tax. I want to make sure that's differentiated from the casino tax. That has nothing, that's outside of that. That goes into the general revenues, but that helps prop up that surplus that we get the first 25% of the first 200 $200 million off of. So I felt that was worth mentioning. That's a good thing for us. If we move on to budgeted versus actual revenue, pretty much everything's fairly flat. As you can see at the bottom, we're $4 million under budget, which is good. It means we took into account things that we needed to, and things are tracking the way that we anticipated. One thing I will point out is since I talked about the lottery, I'll talk about the casino tax. The casino tax, the first $31.2 million in tax collected goes to the general fund. The remainder after that comes to us, and right now they are over the 31.2 by $2 million. So we are starting to stack toward that $35 million that we normally get. So that's also a good trend going forward. The next slide is motor fuel consumption. If you see here, the consumption as of now through December is tracking at the 23 and 25 levels, still fairly flat, and diesel is tracking at the 2024 levels, once again fairly flat. And overall, we're 10.9 million gallons under and 1% from where we were last year. Is there any questions?
Thank you for that positive report, Patrick. And with that, I'll turn the meeting over to Director Jared Wiley. Director Wiley, the meeting is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Patrick. I wanted to point out Patrick's note about state surplus. That's good news for us. And we budgeted this year. We planned on getting that $50 million that we've been used to receiving, as long as that surplus is at $200 million. So earlier projections were that surplus is going to be under $200 million, which would have cut into our budget. So this is welcome news. Thank you for that, Patrick. I'd like to start us off, as become customary, with Kevin Thornton, our Chief of Administration. He's going to come up and give us some updates about federal and state legislative issues. And as many of you know, this is Kevin's one of his last few meetings. He's going to retire in July. So, Kevin, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Director Wiley. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I would like to draw your attention to the upcoming Arkansas 95th General Assembly fiscal session of 2026. Now you can focus on it. The primary purpose of the fiscal session is for the legislature to consider appropriations that establish budget or spending levels. This year's fiscal session will be establishing appropriations for state fiscal year 2027, which begins on July 1st, 2026, and continues until June 30th of 2027. Bills other than appropriation bills can be considered, but 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate must vote to allow it to be considered. The fiscal session will begin on Wednesday, April the 8th, and the Department's 2027 appropriation bill will be considered, and we are looking forward to its passage. Our appropriation request for the 2027 year has already been reviewed by the Arkansas Legislative Council back in the fall of 2028. We expect the fiscal session to end on or around May the 7th. Now I'd like to bring you up to date on activity in Washington, D.C. Lately, our federal funding has been just like the weather here in Arkansas, all over the place. We started out this federal year in a shutdown. Then we had a continuing resolution, or CR. Then we were back in a shutdown. And now we have a full year appropriation bill, and it contains earmarks. The appropriations bill that Congress and the President were able to agree on will provide federal funds until September the 30th. The amount of money we will receive will fully fund the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or IIJA, for federal fiscal year 2026. The Appropriations Act provides a total of approximately $65 billion for our nation's transportation needs. Arkansas' share is approximately $850 million. There are other changes that I need to update you about in this appropriations bill. Approximately $500 million of our nation's National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, or NEVI funds, have been rescinded. This will reduce Arkansas' share of NEVI formula funds by approximately $9.5 million. This will not affect any projects that are underway, but it will reduce the amount of funding we can award for our competitive NEVI program. Now, while the Appropriations Act reduced funding for NEVI, it created a new truck parking program and set aside $200 million for that program. We will be looking forward to seeing the guidance for this program to see how we can best take advantage of it for Arkansas. Having a full year's appropriation takes the pressure off until September 30th, which is the end of the federal year. One reminder, the Authorization Act, or the IIJA itself, also expires this September. So going into 2027, Congress will need to approve a new Authorization Act and a new appropriation bill so that federal funds can continue to flow. Now, as I mentioned before, we will also be receiving community project funding or earmarks in 2026. And let's take a look at those. $15.8 million requested by Senator Bozeman and $3 million requested by Representative Womack, totaling $18.8 million for the next phase of the future Interstate 49 from Alma to Barling. $6.7 million for the next phase of future Interstate 57 from Walnut Ridge to the Missouri state line was requested and received by Representative Crawford. $7 million for the Highway 82 Railroad Overpass, requested by Senator Bozeman and Representative Westerman. $3 million for the next phase of the Highway 112 widening. This was requested by Senator Bozeman and Representative Womack. $11 million for the Highway 412 corridor improvements, requested by Senator Bozeman and Representative Crawford. And certainly, last but not least, $59 million for the next phase of the Springdale Northern Bypass that was requested by Representative Womack. These earmarks total over $105 million for important transportation projects here in Arkansas. Since 2022, we have received nearly $300 million in earmark funding. When you combine the funding from the Appropriations Act of our regular federal funding with the earmarks, Arkansas will receive nearly $1 billion in 2026. And that will be used, of course, for our projects, but also directly to improve the quality of life for all Arkansans. Once again, we want to express our gratitude to our congressional delegation, who continue to work through numerous challenges in Washington to be sure that federal funds continue to flow to our state for our transportation system. Director Wiley, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin?
Kevin, I just want to point out on there, I think it's really important that Arkansas is able to continue working through the shutdowns. And if you could speak to that a little bit, our funding is unique in that way, and I think it's important for Arkansas.
Yes, that's a very good point. The bulk of our funding comes from the Highway Trust Fund, which is set aside. And so when there is a shutdown, that does not shut off the Highway Trust Fund funds. And so we are able to continue for our projects that are under construction. We're able to submit requests for reimbursements and receive those reimbursements. We're also able to obligate any funds that we have previously received prior to the shutdown coming into us. So we have all of that available to us, and it's just one of the things that the staff here does a great job of managing that, to be able to see what is available and how do we keep everything running just the way it is while those in Congress and the President are able to work out their differences. And so far, it's worked very well.
Excellent. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Next up, I'll ask Crystal Woods, our Assistant Chief of Administration, to come up and talk about our efficiency review recommendation implementation. We've made a lot of good progress, and we're drawing near to the end of those.
Good morning. It's nice to see you all again. At your last few meetings, we've been showing about a 95% or higher completion rate of most of the efficiency review recommendations completed. I'm happy to report more progress today on the remaining recommendations. So recommendation number 3 called for publishing the status of construction projects and maintenance activities. The dashboard for maintenance activities has been reviewed by leadership and is now undergoing some final tweaks to make sure that it's as user-friendly as possible to the public. It's expected to be finalized very soon. Recommendation number 5 directed us to implement efficiencies in procurement and purchasing. The change order study has now been reviewed and approved by leadership, so this recommendation is now considered complete. The study found that overall performance in this area was already strong, but to optimize change order management and improve project efficiency, our construction division is implementing a few refinements in the project design and administrative procedures as a result of the change order study. And recommendation number 7 focused on implementing portfolio management and frameworks. That's the one that's closely related to recommendation number 3. Our maintenance management system is used to report on those maintenance activities. And again, that dashboard is expected to be finalized very soon, and we plan to show it to you at our next meeting. So that brings us to our final slide. 11 now of the 13 recommendations are fully implemented. 88 of the 90 individual actions are considered complete. That's a 98% overall completion rate, which is a 2% increase since your last meeting. The 2 remaining recommendations are literally days or weeks of being considered complete. Are there any questions?
All right, thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
Look forward to that. Steve Frisbee is going to give us a demonstration of the dashboard at the April meeting, so that'll be great. Next up, we have Jesse Jones, Chief Engineer for Pre-Construction, to come talk about our recent bid letting.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. In January, we had a successful bid letting. 53 projects were awarded for a total of $150.2 million. 153 bids were submitted by 41 different contractors. All bids were rejected on one project, which is a Stay A project. To continue our 2026 payment preservation program, in this letting, we awarded 18 projects totaling over $72 million that will resurface over 151 miles of state highways. The first project I would like to highlight from this letting is the improvements at Interstate 57 interchange with Highway 5 in Cabot. This project will replace the current bridge and reconfigure the interchange into a single-point urban interchange to improve traffic flow at this congested location. It was awarded to Weaver Bailey Contractors for $53.9 million. And the estimated completion date is mid-2028. The next project is a pavement preservation project that will rehab 54 freeway ramps between Cabot and Newport along Interstate 57. The project was awarded to Rogers Group for $13.9 million, and the estimated completion date is late 2026. The last project I would like to highlight is a partnering project with City of Jonesboro to widen a portion of Highway 1B south of Interstate 555 to 5 lanes. This project also includes intersection improvements, sidewalks, and a multi-use path. The project was awarded to Rogers Group for $5.9 million, and the estimated completion is late 2027. Our next letting will be held on March 4th. We currently plan to let 27 projects, estimating at approximately $79 million. Director Wiley, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Jesse. Any questions for Jesse? No, appreciate you. It's been a busy 2026 already for our operations team. Rex Vines, our Chief Engineer of Operations, is going to come up and give us an update about what's been going on.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For our construction update this morning, I'd just like to highlight a couple projects. Overall, across the state, we've got 180 active projects. That's down 29 from our last meeting, and that's a value of $2.4 billion in work. We've had 22 jobs go substantially complete since the last meeting, representing $82 million worth of work, and we have paid out $97 million to contract estimates. This activity, this interesting picture shown here is actually salvaging a bridge on one of our projects to give to Independence County, one of our counties. We have that program available to some of those, and we have the right structures available. So that's something that the counties and cities get to benefit from. For our first project highlight, like the scope of this project is to replace 10 existing bridge structures across 15 miles between Alicia and Bono out west of Jonesboro, replacing 4 bridges and 6 box culverts. That was awarded to Robertson Construction in November of 2022 for $20.6 million. The estimated completion date is mid this year, so they should be opening it up. 4 of the bridges are already open to traffic. Traffic's in full alignment. And then 5 of the 6 box culverts are there, so they're making good progress on that job. And here's something we don't normally talk about with highway work, but we've got a project going up near Bella Vista, constructing a new Welcome Center. The purpose of this is to construct the Welcome Center adjacent to the new I-49 section we opened a couple of years ago going into Missouri. And we'll also construct maintenance buildings, picnic shelters, and provide travelers with a safe place to rest and to take a break from their drives, and to get access or get materials on travel through the state. This job was awarded to Construction Services Group in July of 2024 for $7 million, and we're expected them to finish this summer. Just some interesting facts on this. The design of this is different than most of ours across the state. This was inspired by the work of a renowned architect, Fay Jones, due to his popularity and influence of his architecture in the region. Mr. Jones' early success led him to working as an apprentice for Frank Lloyd Wright. And in 1973, Fay Jones became the first dean of the University of Arkansas Architecture program, later named the Fay Jones School of Architecture and Design. So they are moving along with that project and should be completed this summer. Yes, sir.
While you're on that, I'd just like to say that I've been involved from the beginning on how this came about, and I want to compliment our the way we go about coming. We had public meetings with architects and engineers, and we took input from the public stakeholders and everything on what they wanted. We took it into consideration. The architect gave us designs, and it was just really a neat process. And that's how this structure design came about. And I just want to compliment our team for listening to the people and coming up with a great product. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now moving on to our maintenance update. As y'all well know, we had Winter Storm Fern brought some heavy snow, sleet, ice, freezing rain, the whole gamut, and extremely cold temperatures last week of January. And you can see here it tracked across the entire U.S. from the Texas-Mexico border all the way up to the East Coast. You can see the map depicts the winter storm warnings in pink, and then the storm advisories in purple and watches in blue. It's a pretty massive storm system that went through here. Our crews prepared for this storm by pre-treating our primary highways, placed 3.7 million gallons of brine, and treated 90% of our state highway system just in preparation for this storm. The storm struck Arkansas beginning Friday, January 23rd, and it immediately affected travel across the state, dumped several inches of sleet, snow, and ice as it moved across over 3 days. North Arkansas received 12 inches of snow. Central Arkansas received 11 inches of sleet and snow, and then Southern Arkansas received 7 inches of sleet and ice. The extremely cold temperatures immediately followed that precipitation, with lows across the state near zero and well below freezing for a few days. This makes it very difficult. As you saw, ice and sleet is the absolute worst combination we can have for blading roads. It's really hard on equipment, it's hard on the roads. So our top left corner here, we see some of our crews out working, and just during the snow, you see some of the numbers, some of the stats to the left there of what this what all was entailed. But despite the major challenges, RDOT met the storm head on, battling it night and day until the roads were clear. By the end of the day, Monday, January 26th, that's the first day after precipitation stopped, we had our interstates and many of our major primary highway networks mostly clear with traffic moving at normal speeds, and just a few ice patches. Excuse me. Despite the super cold temperatures, crews worked 24 hours a day, 24-hour operations throughout the week, working to clear primary and secondary routes, addressing trouble spots due to refreezing and ice melt. All primary routes were reported 100% clear at 11:21 p.m. on Friday, January 30th. So some of our districts did work in a little bit on Saturday to get some particularly hard spots, but the overwhelming majority of the roads were clear by Friday. So I'm going to show a video, unless you have some questions before I show this. Okay.
Rex, everybody just did an incredible job. I was here in Central Arkansas, and we were watching our cities and counties try to battle the same ice without the resources of RDOT and the preparation that you guys are able to put in with your teams, with the practicing that happens back in the summer, and so much goes into it, and we really saw all that preparation pay off, and we appreciate that so much. I know this ice was particularly hard on the equipment. Is that something that are we going to see a budget bump on that, or is that something that gets absorbed in your normal wear and tear calculations, or how does that kind of fall out?
Usually it gets absorbed into it. I
Okay.
don't think we had any significant damage, maybe one or two, but it'll be absorbed in.
Good. Well, they did an incredible job. I just can't say enough about it. They were working, as you said, around the clock and in very cold temperatures, so we
It's a
appreciate it.
very hard storm. The crews were outstanding. Just, to go 7 days, 24/7, that's rough on the crews, and I'm just really, couldn't be prouder of them. Couldn't
Absolutely.
be prouder of them.
Thank you.
Let's see.
And that major winter weather event is expected to move into Arkansas by the end of the week, bringing with it snow, dangerous cold, and potentially unsafe conditions.
And the Arkansas Department of Transportation says that its crews, plows, and even salt supplies are ready.
It's kind of like that big game. Get everything ready, get everybody on the same page, and then once it starts falling, kind of go time.
Our crews will be working 24 hours until this storm is over and the roads are clear.
Once they clear the lanes, rains, they'll be letting salt down, and then the brine trucks will come through and soak over the salt, and that just helps keep any new snowfall from sticking immediately to the road.
When we come together, we come together as one. We a team, no matter what.
It's gonna be a long weekend. The District 6 is brined up, fired up, ready to go.
It's 10 degrees. We've had crews out since about midnight. Still a lot of snow coming down.
So let's bring in Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
We've had amazing teams that have been working around the clock. The Arkansas Department of Transportation has done heroic work to help prepare. They were able to pre-treat about 90% of our state highways. That's nearly 16,000 miles of road ahead of the storm. We've got 700 plows out working.
After getting anywhere between 6 inches to close to a foot of snow in parts of northwest Arkansas, I truly get it now. Watching that snow get tossed up by the plow is a sight that is simply hard to look away from.
So I've been doing this 22 years. I love everything. I do love the snow. So the snow itself is hypnotizing, but clearing off a road, seeing a rooster tail is mesmerizing.
We plow, and then you turn around and it's covered right back up.
Efforts to clear the major interstates and highways have been going on statewide. That second round is about to start. What kind of challenges are your crews facing right now?
Tonight we're going to get the second wave. It's a lot of what we did today is going to be covered. I think the bitter cold is going to be our biggest challenge. Tomorrow's going to be even colder.
Half our crew's out plowing. The other half is in here being mechanics, working on everything we got. This part of the job is important to keep our equipment maintained. We have to keep the road open 24/7.
All the hard work we done yesterday, Mother Nature struck back and took some of that back from us last night. A lot of the roads that we had cleared are covered again, but we're working hard to get them back clear again.
It's about 22 degrees, so not a whole lot is melting right now, but we are blading and putting salt down and making pretty good progress.
And the sun is finally shining in southeast Arkansas. Just wanted to thank all of my staff for their hard work. They've put in a lot of time, a lot of hours over the last 2 or 3 days.
We're in the fourth quarter. How about your crews? How are your crews doing?
I think this is officially the 7th day when you count that we pre-treated starting last Wednesday. This is 7th day of the storm. So, yeah, but we can see the end, so morale's pretty good.
I wanted to commend all the men and women with RDOT that have worked for this winter weather event, put in those long, hard hours.
From the maintenance shops to the emergency operations center to the traffic management center to those working out here on the roads and everyone behind the scenes, the RDOT family banded together to fight Winter Storm Fern.
Thank you, crews, for all you did and all you continue to do to help keep our roadways safe and serviceable out there.
That concludes my report, Director.
Thank you, Rex. I may be a little biased, but I feel like we have some of the best public servants in all the state government here at RDOT, and events like this really give us a chance to showcase their grit and determination, and I'm too very proud of them. Proud of the way they handled the storm, worked so hard for days on end. Proud of our communications team for the way they told the story out there. We got ahead of the message, and I think it set really a good expectations for the public. Great job on that, Parker. And thanks to everybody who worked behind the scenes who gets no glory or credit for this. There's a lot of those men and women here at RDOT who are doing that very thing. So we appreciate them all. Thank you for that great update, Rex. I want to talk a little bit more about what we've been doing aside from snow and ice too. Just hit that briefly for you. After we had our last commission meeting, we dove right into service awards. It was such a fantastic month for us to be able to get around the state. I really appreciate your attendance at those meetings. It means a lot to our staff for you to be there and support them. We were able to celebrate milestones in careers. We gave out those certificates of service for 25, 30, 35, and even some 40 years of service. Over here, Kevin to my right got his 40 year at this round. We also presented certificates of retirement and the Director's Diamond Award, Safety Leadership Awards, and several other awards to recognize our talented team, our 4,000 staff's efforts and hard work they put in and day out, and we appreciate you guys being there for those. In December, I also met with Mr. Jeff Schmidt. Jeff's here with us today. Jeff, would you stand up? Jeff is our acting division administrator of the Federal Highways Division here in Arkansas. So Jeff came on board here in Arkansas last year. He's done an outstanding job of leading in a little bit different circumstance. Typically, we have a division administrator here in the state. He's in Mississippi, and he's leading the Mississippi office and the Arkansas office. And I'm telling you right now, he's been fantastic at keeping things moving and getting results, and I really appreciate that, Jeff. It's been really a breath of fresh air to work with you. Jeff began his career in '92 in the Federal Highways Training Engineer Program. He's held many positions in the agency, but he's worked in Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Indiana. He's also worked with federal lands. He came back to Mississippi in 2019 after working there previously a couple times. His family has some ties there in Mississippi. In 2024, he was appointed to be their division administrator, and then again last year he became our acting administrator. Jeff is married with 3 grown sons, and next month he's got a big event coming. He's going to be a first-time grandpa to twin boys. So congratulations, Jeff, and we appreciate all you do to help keep transportation moving for our citizens here. On January 8th, I was invited to speak at the Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association's Quality Conference in Little Rock. Park was here. I think he had to step out, but Executive Director Park Estes invited me to speak. I was glad to present. Vice Chairman Gibson was in attendance, and Commissioner Halsey, he was also there. It was a full house. It was quite a crowd. Talked about what's going on around the department, some ways we're making roads safer for everyone, employees, travelers, and our contractors. It was really good to brief the group on that. We've made some great progress with the Commission's support for sure. We talked about our construction programs, pavement preservation projects, and upcoming projects for the next couple years. Also on the docket from RDOT, Derek Wyatt, our state maintenance engineer, he presented to the group. Tisha Reynolds, our materials specifications coordinator, she's working hard to build better asphalt, and she's doing great work with that. Safaraz Udin from our research group, he also presented to the group, so appreciate them and their support. We were also blessed. You can see these nice awards beside me, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a few minutes, but we were bestowed 3 more perpetual pavement awards by the association. You can see on the screen Park Estes and Bobby Kennedy, the president of the association. They presented those awards to Rex, Jesse, and I, so I'll get into those details in a few moments. Late last month, I was honored to speak to our Associated General Contractors of Arkansas at their Lunch and Learn session. I presented to that group in 2025. It was my first presentation as director, and it was good to be back in town with them. We talked about some of the same things we talked about at the Asphalt Paving Association, ways we're making things safer, our construction programs, and a look ahead, but we also sat down with them after that meeting and had a partnering meeting. We sat down with their highway group and talked about ways we could all collaborate and be better to build a better product and a better highway system. So those conversations are always good, and I always look forward to those. On February 2nd, Van Buren County Judge Dale James came to see me. I was glad to host him for a few minutes. He is head of the Governor's Arkansas 250 coalition here in our state. He is leading the effort to get the word out about the 250, and he's doing great work. He and his group donated nearly 200 flags to us to fly at all of our facilities. I hope you saw out front today. Today's the first day the America 250 flag is flying at our facilities. It's going to be below our state flag, and those will be distributed around the state, and you'll see those flying throughout the year. We are partnering with them by producing those signs. You can see there I presented him with the first sign that we made. We're going to be putting those signs up at strategic locations around the state, welcoming people into Arkansas and showing our support for the America's 250th birthday. So all in all, we'll produce about 300 signs for that event. On February 3rd, I spoke to Leadership Class 31 in Little Rock. They came down in Little Rock so they could talk to state leaders across the state there in one central location. So we got together at the state chamber, and I was happy to inform them about RDOT and the commission's history, the successes that structure has brought us over the years. We talked about some initiatives we're focusing on this year and some important projects that Chairman Taldo may be familiar with. Highway 112, the Springdale Bypass and XNA Connector. They really had a lot of questions about those. It was a great dialogue. We also talked about Interstate 49. That was a topic of great interest to that group. So I appreciate them having me and the dialogue we had together. Kevin and I went last week to the Southern Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials mid-year meeting, SASHTO mid-year meeting, where all the CEOs, executive directors from our southern states get together and talk about transportation issues. It was in Charleston, South Carolina. We flew in and flew out the next day. We heard from Jim Timon, AASHTO's executive director. He gave us a Washington update. It was really informative. He talked about the progress that we're making on the federal legislation to renew the highway bill that Kevin talked about earlier. They're working on that in D.C. We will see how far they get. I want to make sure this group knows, though, there is a real chance that we don't see a highway bill come October. So if we don't, what happens then? Well, we may be under a CR. We may see an extension of the IIJA. Those assurances that we have now of government shutdown, we're operating as usual. Those will all come into question as we look at reauthorization. So it's really going to depend on what Congress does in September to see what things look like here for us in October. So just stay tuned for that. We'll be watching that as things progress. One takeaway, though, from the meeting, I wanted to brag on our staff. We talked about winter weather. As you can imagine, it hit most of us pretty hard. A big takeaway I saw from that meeting was the way that we have strategically placed our salt houses around the state. We have 113 salt houses. There's a bit of trivia for you guys around the state. It really makes us efficient and able to access that salt quickly. They may not be huge, but they're all over the state, and we're able to get salt out of those and treat the roads in the vicinity. And I think that yields some big wins for us. Some states stockpile those in areas and they have to truck them many miles, and the way we've built our system is just working well. And another word of thank you to our operations team for that. All right, any questions about that? I'm going to move on to our Around the Department segment. This has been really good for us to be able to showcase some of the interesting things and the talents that our staff has. Today, Josh Seagraves, the division head of our environmental division, is going to talk to you about what his group does. Josh has been here. He started when I started here in 2005. He's been here 20 years now, and he's been in his role about 2 years. So, Josh, if you would come update us on environmental division.
Thank you, Director Wiley. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It says we work together to deliver a modern transportation system, enhancing safety and the quality of life in Arkansas. Our division's primary responsibilities are to ensure that RDOT's compliance with environmental laws, regulations, and policies in the planning, construction, and operation of Arkansas's transportation system. To complete the environmental approvals, to move projects forward in the project delivery process, and to manage environmental programs to ensure the stewardship of Arkansas's environment. Our environmental division is part of the planning branch of pre-construction, and we're physically located in the annex across the courtyard. Our leadership team is shown here on the screen, and they have joined us this morning as well. Beginning at the top left, we've got Katie Ewing. She leads our natural resources section. Christina Boykin is our assistant division head. Linda DeMacy, she leads our GIS and data management section. We also have Matt Strawn, who leads our public involvement team. And Don Nichols, who leads our assessment section. And then Jason Eads, there to my left, he oversees our cultural resources section. Supporting these sections, we also have 3 administrative and office assistants. And supplementing our efforts, we also have on-call services contracts that aid in the preparation of NEPA documentation, noise impact assessments, cultural resources surveys, and endangered bat surveys. My presentation this morning will briefly cover NEPA, or the National Environmental Policy Act, each section and their staff responsibilities, and a few programs that are under our responsibility. So again, the Environmental Division proceeds under their work under the guidance and regulations of NEPA. NEPA was enacted to ensure that federal agencies consider the environmental consequences of their activities through informed decision-making. The NEPA decision-making process is generally referred to as umbrella, under which all applicable environmental laws and regulations are considered. A partial list of those more well-known laws are included here on the right of your screen. So the assessment section, they have a staff of 5 environmental impact specialists who coordinate this NEPA process for the department. They also conduct studies to assess traffic noise, air quality, hazardous materials, parks and recreation, and visual quality. The section determines the appropriate NEPA class of action, assess the impacts of the environmental resources previously mentioned, and coordinates with other sections, divisions, and agencies to compile the final NEPA document for approval. Shown here on the screen are examples of that documentation for the 3 different NEPA classes of action. The top left there is the categorical exclusion. The environmental assessment is there on the top right, and then the largest of which is the environmental impact statement there on the bottom. We also have examples of those documents there on the table at the front as well. The determination of the class of action depends upon the scope, complexity, and the potential impacts of the project. A standard project may take around 3 months to complete. However, more complicated projects like environmental assessments may take up to a year, and environmental impact statements 2 years. The vast majority of our projects are processed by categorical exclusions. And for instance, in 2025, we completed 120 categorical exclusions and 7 EAs, while also conducting 16 reevaluations. For us, environmental impact statements are exceedingly rare. We've only completed 1 in the last 10 years, that being for I-57, that segment between Walnut Ridge and the Missouri state line. Next is our cultural resources section. They consist of a team of 7 archaeologists and 3 architectural historians. They work to fulfill the requirements of the National Historic Preservation Act. This act requires that federal agencies assess the effects of an undertaking on historic properties. Historic properties can include things like prehistoric and historic districts, sites, structures, buildings, and objects that are eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. It's just National Register for short. The National Register also outlines the educational and experience requirements that our staff must have in order to work on these projects. This includes the completion of a master's degree. Cultural resources staff complete evaluations to determine if these resources qualify as historic properties and if they'll be impacted by our projects. Their findings are submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office. And additionally, they assist the Federal Highway Administration in consulting with federally recognized Native American tribes. On the screen, we've got a few examples of a couple different types of cultural resources surveys. They're on either side. And then also a historic barn that was determined to be eligible on one of our projects. Next up is our GIS and data management section. They consist of a team of 6 GIS and data management specialists. They serve as the central hub for the environmental spatial data and analysis. They manage and integrate our data sets from federal, state, and internal sources, ensuring that our staff are working from consistent and reliable information. By providing accurate mapping, analysis, and decision supporting tools, our teams can make informed decisions faster and with greater confidence. The team also plays an integral role in our public involvement process, creating our project websites and interactive maps that have become an invaluable component of our public involvement meetings. Next is our natural resources section. They're a team of 10 botanists, biologists, wetland scientists, and stormwater specialists. Their primary responsibilities involve compliance with the Endangered Species Act as well as the Clean Water Act. The section's diverse skill set isn't apparent in their daily field work. Some examples are provided here, including surveys for protected species such as the Jefferson County crayfish, habitat for the monarch butterfly, and the northern long-eared bat. The section also has a dive team that conducts freshwater mussel surveys, as well as stream and wetland assessments. Stormwater staff that work with our construction and maintenance facilities, advising those staff the best management practices for any sediment and erosion control issues. Lastly, our public involvement section is a team of 5 public involvement specialists whose primary purpose is to ensure that transportation decisions are informed by the public in compliance with FHWA's NEPA regulations. RDOT's public involvement success depends on collaboration across the department. Meetings are conducted in assistance with communications, the districts, right-of-way, and roadway staff. Results of those efforts build stronger community engagement by building trust and credibility within the community. It provides smoother project delivery, resulting in early resolution of concerns and reducing delays. In 2005, we conducted 29 public meetings, including hearings and neighborhood noise meetings. Additionally, we also conducted 17 public officials meetings. Those meetings were attended by more than 2,000 individuals, and we received over 800 comments on our projects. Before moving into our programs, I think it's important to note how incredibly blessed that we are to have such a knowledgeable, experienced, and capable staff. Much of the work highlighted here was completed by RDOT staff. While it's not unusual for DOT staff across the country to conduct things like categorical exclusions, it's exceedingly rare for those staffs to complete things like environmental assessments, cultural resources surveys, and endangered species surveys. So the first program I'd like to highlight this morning is our Historic Bridge Program. The Historic Bridge Program is coordinated through our Cultural Resources section. It was established in the 1980s and is overseen with 2 specific goals in mind: to keep a statewide inventory of public roadway bridges eligible for listing in the National Register, and to rehabilitate, preserve, and document historic bridges scheduled for replacement or improvement in accordance with those laws and regulations. Established with the program is the Department's Historic Bridge Analysis Committee, which reviews historic bridge jobs for the possibility of rehabilitation, preservation, or replacement. They also review activities that may impact historic bridges, such as lighting requests. Next up is our mitigation program. RDOT has one of the most robust mitigation programs in the country. This is because most of that work is done in-house. While there are some commercially available mitigation sites, we are by far the largest in the state. We oversee 12 approved mitigation banks, 6 proposed mitigation banks, and over 30 mitigation sites totaling more than 7,500 acres. Mitigation site is an area where wetlands or streams or sometimes even endangered species habitat are restored or enhanced to offset unavoidable impacts due to our projects. Mitigation bank may be used to offset multiple projects where sites are generally project specific. After a mitigation area is established, we typically partner with other state or federal agencies to manage those properties to allow public access. 5 mitigation areas are currently managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. 7 are managed by the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and 2 are managed by the Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission. ARDOT is unique in that our department handles not only the planning and programming of these sites, but also the construction and monitoring actions that occur there. We also have a nursery located here on the central office campus down by the Equipment Procurement Division, and that's where we grow out wildflower plugs and containerized trees to help support our efforts at these mitigation areas. And lastly, I'd like to highlight our wildflower programs, excuse me. Natural Resources section also oversees this program. We've got several programs in this category that include our wildflower routes, our native wildflower areas, and our Operation Wildflower program. Signage is installed in the right-of-way for wildflower areas. Currently, we have over 1,200 miles of designated wildflower routes on our state highway system. Similarly, we also erect signs for large, showy stands of naturally occurring wildflowers. These are usually nominated by groups like the Native Plant Society, local garden clubs, or master naturalist groups. And then our Operation Wildflower program allows for citizens and municipalities, other civic organizations, they can donate seed to the department, and then we provide the technical expertise and the manpower to get those sites planted and then maintained. For anyone interested in learning more about, our wildflower programs, we have some wildflower brochures available on the table up front, and then we also have a QR code that will take you to the department's website for that. With that, Mr. Director, that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Josh. Any questions for him?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When you went over the about the bats and the crayfish and that on the crayfish, when you relocated them, how are they doing now?
They're doing well. So there's been a lot of sign of some reproduction and continued growth of that population. So.
Okay, so are you mandated to keep up with those, and if so, how long?
Yes, sir. We do yearly monitoring. Monitoring periods for that particular one, I think, extend for like 5 years yearly,
Okay.
and then after that, we do more reduced long-term monitoring. So usually every few years after that, and that's again through a partnership with our Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. So they help with the monitoring of that site.
Okay, thank you,
Yes, sir.
I got one question. What kind of education does it require for you and your staff to do this? Is it biology or engineering, or what kind of education?
Sure, absolutely. It depends upon the specialty, but yes, most of our staff have a degree in the natural sciences, so biology, ecology, that type of thing. Our cultural resources section, most of their degrees would be in like anthropology or archaeology. We also, our GIS and data management staff, theirs would be more on that side of things. IT type degrees or data management type degrees.
Thank you.
Josh, you're doing a great job with this very diverse department. And the team you brought with you, I'd love for them to stand and be recognized, if that's okay.
Sure. Please stand.
Josh, are you still a certified diver yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I still maintain that certification and still dive from time to time, especially on our bigger river projects. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the update. Again, they have such a great and diverse team. They can do it all over there, and I'm really proud of what they accomplished for us. If you get a chance, do take a look at this table, everybody in the room, when we get done with the meetings today. There's a lot of great materials here, and his team will be here and hang around a little bit if you have any other questions you want to ask them offline. All right, in December, we did a look back, wrapping up 2025. It was a big year for us. We had a lot of things to celebrate. Today, I want to talk to you about what we're working hard on this year. Some of this you've heard before, but I want to make sure that we talk about it here. This year, we're going to be working on making sure that we are doing everything we can as an agency to combat this human trafficking epidemic we see in our state and our nation. And we're doing that through training and education. We started the year off with a nod to that Human Trafficking Prevention Month, which is in January. We encouraged our employees to wear blue on Wednesdays. You can see on the graphics behind me they did, and we appreciate their support on that. We had a lunch and learn session for our staff here by Into the Light. They hosted that. They talked about some firsthand accounts of human trafficking experiences. It was a good session for our team. Our executive group was trained by our staff. We saw the human trafficking training that all of our crews will receive over the next few months. And so we are going to be equipped to know the signs and know who to call should we see those signs. We're also going to be working on outreach by posting information in our public spaces for those traffic victims. Should they cross paths with one of our facilities, they'll have some resources there that they can call or reach out to. There'll be QR codes and numbers they can text too if they are worried about being overheard. So we're doing everything we can to be a part of this effort to fight human trafficking. And on Friday, Chief Holmes and I will sign a renewed pledge for our agency to fight human trafficking and commit to that at the USDOT level. So looking forward to that event on Friday. This year, we're also focusing on litter. Mackenzie's presentation was very timely. Litter is such a blight on our state. We spend $8 million a year combating litter. And these litter letters that we're working with now, putting those around the state, we're going to move those around the state this year. Every couple months, they'll be moved to a new location. You'll see on the screen on the top, they were in Jonesboro and in Northwest Arkansas for the first month they were out. And they got a lot of good publicity. It generated a lot of buzz nationwide. My office received several calls about what we're doing about litter, and we got some really new, fresh ideas from some of our partners, too. So I'm looking forward to doing more in the space this year. And I think I've told some of you this, but we have had some legislators reach out to us, and they want to sponsor some legislation for us to help next session. So looking forward to developing that with them.
Jared, that Keep Arkansas Beautiful, the 100,000, is my memory right? Were we at like 40,000 last year? And I think that's a great job to increase that. Can you speak a little bit to how much we spend on picking up litter ourselves and how the Keep Arkansas Beautiful is offsetting that?
Yes. So, yeah, it was 40,000 last year. It's been 40 for a couple years. Before that, 35. It just grew over time with inflation. But, yes, we spend about $8 million. That comes from our staff picking up litter, contract mowers picking up litter, some supplemental pickups that we engage in. We help some inmates pick up litter, and we pay a little bit for that. So we're trying to tackle it in many ways. Our Adopt a Highway program is another way we're able to do this, where individuals or organizations can adopt a mile of highway and help us fight the litter problem. But this investment with Keep Arkansas Beautiful just enhances that in a very strategic and organized way. That funding goes to a group that knows what they're doing and knows how to use that funding well. So I'm really excited about that and looking to see those fruits of those labors. That actually ties into my next slide, Commissioner Holder. In March, last year we did a spring cleanup day. We wanted to do an all hands on deck day where all of our operations team came out and made a show of force to pick up litter to number one, clean up the place, but also to make sure everybody who's driving a highway sees us out there and knows what the effort is. And so we did that. We picked up 6,500 bags of litter that spring cleanup day last year. So we're going to keep that going this year. Mackenzie and I have visited. We're going to try to co-brand some of this and do it as a team in conjunction with our Greatest America Cleanup. But on March 17th, you'll see that spring cleanup day again. We're also doing a larger spring cleanup week. It'll be March 14th to 21st, so that anybody else out there who wants to help us take part in that, they can co-brand with us on that. But our staff will be out again March 17th picking up litter. We're going to try to make it available to a lot of our office staff who wants to help as well. So you'll see a big show of force again for RDOT people, and I can guarantee you we'll pick up more than 6,500 bags this year. It's going to be a big day for us. Something else that's exciting and new that we're working on now, Commissioner Gibson saw these roller barriers somewhere and pitched this idea, said, hey, would you look into this? And of course we looked into it, and we saw there are some potential benefits to roller barriers. So that's a guardrail replacement tool. So we're testing this out. We work with that company that develops those. They agreed to do a free of charge installation for us to test out in our state. So it's kind of interesting. We are the second place in the country to install these, and the first on a highway. So this is in Benton, near Highway 5 and Interstate 30 there, just south of the Walmart, where we're seeing a lot of people bumping into that guardrail. The claim of this product that it provides, better visual delineation of the roadway and the barrier. It doesn't require concrete foundation. Repairs are supposed to be quicker and easier, and they don't damage vehicles as badly or the product. So we're excited to try this out. It's in place now. We have cameras on it. We're monitoring that, and we'll be watching those impacts to see if this is something we can use in the future. So, Vice Chairman, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll see what it looks like. At a rodeo? Okay. Yeah, so we'll see. Yep. So I've been watching it as I drive through there, and I haven't seen any damage yet, so that's a good thing. Moving ahead to something big for us this year, safety is always top of mind for us. As we talked about last year, we showed that with our legislative session with the push for so many safety improvements. On January 2nd, I believe, we put out a press release notifying the state that we would start using our speed enforcement cameras to also start working on automated cell phone enforcement. So we wanted to create a buzz, get the word out, and we did that. It was very successful. I think Parker's did over 20 interviews about that around the state, and it was really interesting to see the tide turn from some skepticism, healthy skepticism, to a lot of support. People want safe work zones. They want to be safe. They want everybody to go home at night. And so just to reiterate this, when I'm talking to people around the state, this is not a ticket by mail system. You know when you exit the work zone if you will be ticketed or receive a warning. These images are deleted. They're not stored unless the ticket is issued. If somebody is issued a ticket, we do retain that image for court purposes. We started going live with these after we made that announcement a couple weeks later. We've issued 94 warnings in Interstate 57 in that Jacksonville, Cabot area, and 4 citations in the last month. And we've issued 59 warnings and 3 citations in Interstate 49 at the MLK interchange in the last month. So these are kicking off. Appreciate Highway Police taking care of that for us. It's really going to make an impact on safety. You've heard me talk about it. We are leading the way amongst the southern states here. We have Oklahoma came to see us. They wanted to learn about this technology. Mississippi, Missouri have asked as well. So it's another way that RDOT is pushing and on the forefront of great things.
Jared, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I know you and the department are placing a great deal of emphasis on this and safety. What will be the measurable for that to determine if your efforts are successful? How's that going to work?
From those cameras?
Well, not just from the cameras, I guess, but maybe that, but from the efforts in general that you're making to try to make these zones safer. Will it just be the measurement of fewer accidents, fewer things, or are there other measurables that you can tell, for instance, that,
Yeah.
that the cameras are working?
That's a great question. So our program is data-driven. We make safety decisions, investment decisions based on the plethora of available data that we have. So the proof will be in the pudding there. The data will show what the improvement. So if you think about the I-30 work zone down in Benton, we were seeing 300 crashes a year there before we started using those speed enforcement cameras. Afterwards, we saw that fall by 100 to 200, which is still a lot of crashes, but that was the only change, the enforcement of the camera there. So we'll see it in the data. Hopefully we'll see it in the reduced number of crashes and fatalities. But that is the challenge with safety data sometimes. There's a lag. So when an officer works a crash, he or she reports that through a system. It goes through a checking process, and we have access to that data, but we aggregate that data typically at year end. So there's a little bit of a lag, but the data is where we'll see that. Yep. And last year, Jesse, I'm putting you on the spot, fatalities statewide fell off dramatically again, correct? How much we see? 15, 20% reduction? What was it?
Yes, that's correct. At the end of 2025, crashes below 600. Previous year, it was quite a bit higher. So we're really excited to see that downward trend. Our traffic safety staff is doing an analysis over the years what that trend looks like. So like the director mentioned about the data is an issue, so those are some of the things that we're looking at as well.
Do you have or captured data that, for instance, shows that overall people are slowing down? Are you measuring speeds?
Yes.
And do you collect that data and can you use that to see if people are actually slowing down?
We do measure speeds, and it's easier today with the telemetric data that are in cars and on phones. That's more widely available. We do have traffic counters that collect that too, so yes, we can look at that. Speeding is a challenge everywhere, and it remains a challenge. But I want Jesse reminded me, so the roller barriers that you were seeing, we talk about 3 E's, engineering, education, and enforcement, right? That's how we make an impact with safety. So those barriers, that's engineering, that's the technology that takes us to the future. This enforcement helps with that as well by making sure people understand we mean business. And the next slide I got is about education. Street Smart, you guys authorized that last year. We rolled it out to 6th through 8th graders. This year, we've talked about it, we're targeting high school students with education. We're trying to get the word out about what it means to be a safe driver, a safe passenger, not to distract someone, what the dangers are of those things. This material this year will be a little more poignant for those older kids. We'll hit them on safety, we'll hit them on cell phone use, on avoiding blind spots for trucks so they don't get in a situation that they're not aware of. So our team's working hard to hit all those 3 E's, and we're blessed to have Howey Police here on staff with us to help us enforce these laws. I wanted to brief you on Street Smart. So again, this year we'll target the high school age kids, but our team has been working hard to get the word out to school districts. So Dave's team is meeting with co-ops. They're scheduling meetings with school districts. I asked them to focus on those 5 school districts from the talent that acted in the videos. So we're doing that, and we're seeing that effort grow. So if you know of anybody who needs more information about Street Smart, we have a nice brochure. We'd love to come talk to their schools. That door is always open for us. So please let us know if there's any way we could help support that in your area.
Jared, are you pushing it on Populo? Populo? So what's the right one? The internal website?
Yes, that's Populo.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, yeah, we'll be doing it there too, absolutely. Yeah, everywhere we can.
That's great.
Yes. And in the minute order you approved today for the move over law, that goes hand in hand with my next slide. So slow down, phone down, we're in our 5th year. It's been impactful. We talk about enforcement, we talk about education. Slow down, phone down is education too. Year 5, we're going to get a more in your face, a hard-hitting approach this year, going back to that original theme of the worker, the family. So this year, we're going to tell it from the point of view from someone who committed an offense, who hurt somebody or killed somebody in a work zone. We're going to tell it from their story. We're going to tell it from a worker who witnessed a coworker be hit or killed in a work zone. And we're also going to tell it from the perspective of an individual who was injured in that work zone. So, we're trying to be a little more direct, a little more forceful, because this is serious. This is serious stuff, and these incidents change lives. And so this year we're going to hit that one hard. And then after this year, Slow Down, Phone Down will come to an end. And the minute order you approved today, our next focus, we're going to shift towards that move over law. We see that happening with the green lights. I'm pleased to see that it's still fresh and people seem to be moving over when they encounter green lights. I'm encouraged. Speaker Evans has taken up the mantle and he wants to lead the charge and help work on move over education. He's got a coalition of supporters and we are one of those. And so we're going to be meeting with him off and on. I think we have a meeting next week, but we're going to throw our weight behind this campaign and get the word out about what it means to not only put the phone down, but move over when you encounter an emergency vehicle on the side of the road. So that'll be our next push into next year. Thank you for approving that earlier. All right, upcoming events coming around the state. We got a fresh look too. I meant to mention, I appreciate Hannah and Parker's group for putting a new fresh spin on these slides. I like the way they look today. The calendar moving ahead for the next couple months. Tomorrow we're having an operations staff meeting. Rex and Steve scheduled that. I'm going to attend with our district folks and our operations people to talk about all those unique operational challenges they have. I'm really looking forward to that. I've learned a whole lot from that team over the last year. As I mentioned earlier, on Friday, we'll be signing the Human Trafficking Pledge. Our office will be closed on Monday for President's Day. At the end of next week, I'll go to Tennessee along with some of our key staff members to talk to them about the Interstate 55 Bridge, Kings Crossing. We'll have an update meeting there. We'll look at the progress of that project, talk about scope and estimates, and it should be a good chance to catch up on that project. Late February, some of us will go to Washington, D.C. to the AASHTO meeting, the Washington Briefing. It's always a good place to hear from lawmakers and policymakers about what the next piece of legislation is going to look like. And so we'll go to that. We're also going to meet with our congressional delegation while we're there to tell them what we're working on, to ask for their support on certain initiatives, and to talk about our push for safety. So that should be a good discussion with them late this month. March 3rd, I've been invited to speak at the Siloam Springs CEO Roundtable to talk to them about projects and work in that area, in that part of western side of Benton County. So looking forward to that. Have a PE board meeting on the 10th of March, and then Spring Cleanup Day, as I mentioned, March 17th. And also on March 17th, Vice Chairman Gibson is going to be presenting to the Alma Chamber of Commerce. So we'll put you together another packet for that and get you all ready to go. Late March, spring break, and then on April 1st, we're back here for the next Highway Commission meeting.
So what do we do on spring break?
I don't know about you, but I'm going crappie fish. I'll be down in Millwood. Yeah, you come to the fish fry. You name it, I'll have it ready. Yeah, as long as they're biting. All right, a couple other things I want to brief you on. Last October, we missed it in December. Arkansas State University Alumni Academy inducts new members every year. Some of us were in attendance for that. We were there, and one of our own was inducted this year. He's actually inducted last year, but due to some health issues, he was unable to make it, but he was there this year. Shane Wood, our District 10 engineer, was inducted into the academy. Shane's a fantastic man. He's doing great work in Northeast Arkansas, and Jesse and I and others were glad to be there and support him on his induction. The Perpetual Pavement Awards I mentioned earlier, want to brag on our team for these for a moment. These perpetual pavement awards are given out by the Asphalt Pavement Association Alliance. And RDOT is one of the few that's gotten 3 awards each year. So used to it was 1 award, and we would always apply for it and get it, which is a great thing. But I think we're one of only 1, maybe 2 states that's gotten all 3 awards every year since they expanded it to 3. So we're proud of that. These awards honor long life and lasting pavements all across our country, and they really give a nod to outstanding construction design. So briefly want to run through those with you. Some of those may be at a highway near you. The first one was award for performance. So this award, it has to be a 2-mile segment at least. This was a 2-mile segment of Highway 7 in Union County. To qualify for this award, this is quite amazing to me. The pavement has to be 35 years old, never have experienced a structural failure, and the average interval between the resurfacing can only be 13 years or less. So it can't be resurfaced more often than every 13 years. This piece was built in 1951. It was built on a gravel base with a chip seal. It started out as a chip seal, and it required very minimal maintenance over its 73-year life so far. In 1987, lanes were widened from 9 feet to 11.5 feet with new binder and surface, so we added a little surface there. And then the only other treatment on that highway was in 2014 when we milled off and put back some material. So that pavement has performed well, and I'm glad that they recognized that piece of Highway 7. The next award we received was for the category of conversion, and it's for that piece of I-530 you see on the map there in Jefferson County. It's a high traffic corridor. To qualify for this award, it has to be a pavement that's been converted from concrete to asphalt, which we did here. We rubblized that old concrete, used it as a base, completed that project in 2017, broke down that 10 inches of concrete and put asphalt over top of that. But that conversion happened in 2017, and it also won an award. Lastly, we won an award for a piece of Highway 62 in northwest Arkansas for a strong design. So this was awarded for a strong pavement design. For this project, the asphalt pavement must have a mixture of binder and asphalt on the surface, and again, must be 2 miles long. This project transformed a 2-lane highway into a 5-lane thoroughfare with 11-foot painted median. I'm sure you've driven that a bunch, Chairman. Sections of this road were newly constructed, and other sections were improved by notching and widening that pavement. But this new highway now handles the increased capacity that stemmed from the growth in the region, but really performing well, and we're honored to receive these awards. The last item I have on the agenda for you today is we have an announcement from the Federal Highway Administration, from USDOT, about the 2026 Build Grant Program. So you're familiar with this. This grant program was Tiger, it was raised, it's Build now. We've been successful through the years with several grants. You may recall the maximum grant award is $25 million. So we, staff, looked hard to see what projects in our program would be good candidates for this grant. So today I'm coming to you with a request for approval and a motion to allow us to apply for a build grant for the Interstate 30 ITS build out. So this project's in our STIP. It's in our STIP for about $70 million. There's a deficit. The project's expected to cost about $100 million. So this raised grant, or build grant, pardon me, would help us bridge that gap. This would bring that same technology you see us installing on Interstate 40 between Little Rock and Memphis to I-30 from Little Rock to Texarkana, all the message board, camera enhancements, and the wrong way detection. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have about that proposal, and if you're happy with that, then we'd like to have a motion to proceed.
So what do we need, a motion from the commissioners?
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go, Director.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, that concludes my report, Chairman. Thank you all for the time. Mhm.
Director Wiley. Is there any new business to come before us today? Does any of the, I do have one little bit of business here. Mr. Joe Quinn, the Executive Director of the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation, is here and would like to address the commission.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for the minute order, the support of the organization. I think we had a great year. If I have a memory, it's that 3 years ago we started talking about the memorial, and on Dedication Day, which was a beautiful event, the people etching their loved one's name, and the largest assembly of orange vest I think we have ever seen. Jared felt, and it was, there's no other word, it was beautiful. It's a piece of solace and reflection, and that the families can come there, and it was a project we are proud to have helped you with. We drove 1.5 million Facebook impressions last year, in large part because of the funding you share with us. More than ever, we are looking forward to another good year with you. The summer meeting has really become something of an institution. The relationship we have is seamless. I have all your cell phone numbers. You know, Marie spent a ton of time on the day-to-day strategy of raising the funding for the memorial. I called Philip a couple of weeks ago. We spent like 45 minutes talking about next summer's meeting. That's the type of integrated relationship we have. Dave keeps pushing me to raise. Dave and I grew up in TV. I have more hair left, but but watching what you were doing during the winter storm was phenomenal. Midway through the weekend, I went, man, he's finding the time now to drop district engineers' videos into the game, and the snow coverage was just flawless what you did. It makes me want to raise the Good Roads game. This year, in part with your funding, we're coming with a new, more interactive web page. We want to tell more of the highway police story. We are dramatically upgrading the technology we will use to email updates to people who don't belong to Good Roads. So, and a great example, I said to the director a while ago, those beautiful drug dogs, I'd like to ride along with a police officer. And then Christy jumped in this week, and we're going to do that, but now Dave's going to put a video camera on it. So in terms of generating content but then maximizing it where I can help, we'll do paid Facebook advertising to push that video and then show it at our summer meetings. So maximizing content is really the name of the game. And Rusty constantly takes gorgeous pictures of everything you do, which gives me picture content for my magazine that is strictly not off my camera. So as you raise your game every year, we're trying to raise our game to assist. But again, thank you for the $40,000 minute order, and you're great to work with, and I mean that very sincerely. You're easy and you're fun and you're smart. And I did notice, like during the snowstorm this year, I read the Facebook comments, and there's a lot less grumbling and a lot more, wow, those people are working 12-hour shifts, and they started rehearsing this in July, and they're using, 800,000 tons of brine. So it's great. Thank you so much, and I just really wanted to take a moment to officially thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Any other business from the commission?
Dave, he's right about the great job you guys did on social, particularly on social media. And I'll tell you, I couldn't agree with you more, Joe. I'm observing a shift in the public's approval or lack thereof that used to be is beginning to shift toward, wow, those guys really do a great job. And I think a lot of it is attributed to the information that you guys are putting out, particularly on social media, and people are actually, instead of just reading comments by complainers, they're actually getting to see what's actually being done. So you guys did a great job, particularly this storm season. So.
Anybody else? Hearing no other business, we will stand adjourned.